So there is some drama in Royale High today, which I'm sure you guys have heard of, but basically there is a bug or glitch that happened, and instead of allowing players to basically use it to be able to afford really expensive things in Royale High decided to take the bug out of the game, and today I'm going to be addressing with you guys and explain what happened, as well as some comments that people left on Royale High's Twitter. Now, of course, with any of my videos, this is not meant to send hate or harassment, it's just giving my opinion on a situation, and I want to give you guys the information so you guys can make your own informed opinions about a specific situation with the information I give you, as well as information that you guys collect on your own. So with that out of the way, for those of you that don't know, basically a couple days ago, there was an update in Royale High in which diamonds were spawning in the lagoon in Royale High for an event kind of sort of thing. And typically in Royale High, when diamonds spawn in a specific area, there is a capped amount of how many diamonds can spawn. And I don't know the exact number, but as an example, let's just say there was 50 diamonds that could spawn in the lagoon. And what happens is those 50 diamonds stay at 50 until players start collecting them. And then after players start collecting the diamonds, and as the amount of diamonds that are available go down, new diamonds spawn in different areas on the map in the lagoon. Now the issue was in this particular situation, to my understanding, keep in mind I don't currently play Royale High anymore because of all the issues of the game, but from what I can understand, what I've seen on Twitter is that I guess what was happening was instead of it capping at like the certain amount of diamonds, as an example 50, it just kept spawning in more diamonds. So if you went to a server that had been open for a long time and there wasn't any people really playing in it, you could go and collect a ton of diamonds, which obviously players loved because stuff in Royale High is pretty expensive. And to be fair, I did have to do some math for this video, so get ready for that. But I was shocked when I looked at some of the prices for some of the items in this game. And I get it, games have to make money, but to a point, it seems a little greedy. And I'm not trying to be rude or mean, but some of these prices are just absolutely outrageous, and I was shocked that a game geared specifically towards a younger demographic would have such outrageous prices. Now anyways, with that in mind, basically what ended up happening was the game was very quick to catch it and actually disable the bug. So to my understanding, they could just go into, I guess, the back end of the game and change some sort of code or line of code in the game to make it so the diamonds didn't keep spawning and it was a regulated amount. And of course, players weren't happy with this because something that I actually didn't even know, I didn't realize until I started doing this video and doing some research, was that Royale High took out, I guess, the part where you would get diamonds for leveling up. That was like the whole point of leveling up, was it not? Okay, maybe there's other things going on with the game, and to be fair, again, I don't play it anymore, so I really don't quite know. I've just kind of been going off the information that I found on Twitter and on Reddit forums. But to take out diamonds when you level up, like that was like the highlight of me playing Royale High when I was younger. Like, I'm just kind of shocked. And I will go into why they did this, because people are like, why would they do this? There's a very distinct reason why, and I'll talk to you guys about it in a second here. But basically, players were obviously upset about this, and so they started leaving comments on Royale High's Twitter account, which, flashback, I thought like 2 years ago Royale High got rid of their Twitter account because people were being so mean and they moved to Threads. I guess not. I don't know. I thought I'd seen videos about that, but I guess maybe that didn't happen. But basically, they ended up putting out a statement about the whole situation, and their statement reads, which I'm going to pull it up right here. Hi, Royale High students. About the diamond spawning. Some of you have noticed that certain servers had way more diamonds than usual. This wasn't something we added and then removed. It was actually a bug. Due to some behind-the-scenes issues, diamonds weren't disappearing as quickly as they should, which caused some servers, especially older ones, to spawn extra diamonds. It wasn't an event, just a little glitch that made more diamonds appear by accident. Thank you so much for your patience and for being such a wonderful part of the Royale High community. Now, total side note, but whoever they have hired to be the community manager is absolutely amazing. And I'm not trying to blow like smoke up somebody's butt, but like genuinely, when I was reading the comments and like people being upset about like the glitch being removed, this community manager, whoever it is, they are very well PR trained. Like, compared to some of the other managers that they've had in just other games in general, like how they typically handle backlash, this is exactly how you need to handle it, just by being overly nice and be super understanding and just basically kill people with kindness. And that's exactly what this person is doing. Obviously, this person must, I would assume, have some sort of training in like public relations, but they are so good at being community manager. And I just want to put that out there because this is miles better than what any other game would, you know, make a statement about a bug or a glitch. So I do want to clarify, this is no hate towards the community manager because they did a really good job. But anyways, they put out that statement, And to be fair, it wasn't necessarily very well received. I did actually take some specific comments that I wanted to show you guys. The first one being someone by the name of Asher saying, as something that only happens 3 days for a whole month and mermaid items are extremely overpriced, I feel like we should have an OP farming method there for those who struggle with motivation to farm. Everything is so expensive and it's so time consuming to even farm just a few thousand daily. And then Royale High responded by saying, that idea sounds really fun, we'll definitely pass it along to the team. And they say a little bit more, but that's a great response, first of all. 10 out of 10, other community managers need to take notes. But what Asher's saying here is, they said stuff is really overpriced, and I was like, is it really overpriced? So I did some research, and this is where the math comes in, and don't come for me, I'm not very good at math. That's why I'm sitting here on YouTube, I'm just not a math girly. But basically, I went ahead and looked, and I understand there's different tiers to like the mermaid tails and mermaid items, but more specifically, the basic or like basic level mermaid items, I guess range from about 15,000 to 20,000 diamonds. Now, to make things simple, the amount of diamonds, if you weren't farming, that you would have to purchase to buy one of these things is the amount that you would need is about 25,000 diamonds, so you have a tiny bit left over. And that costs 15,000 Robux. Now, when you do the conversion, 1 diamond is equal to 0.0 Robux. And then if you go to like the Robux buying option, the one that you'd have to buy is the tier that has 1,600 Robux, which is $20 USD. Now, if you do the math, that comes out to $18.75 USD to buy 25,000 diamonds in Royale High. Meaning, to buy one tail, one virtual in-game item that you can only use in one singular game, in I guess like one kind of area because it's a mermaid tail, you have to spend $18.75. For some people, and I think for the majority of people, that's more than you make in an hour. And I'm like, wait a second. Trust me, I get that Royale High has to make money, and I understand that, but $18.75 for a virtual tail, it's like a glorified piece of like an accessory, and you're charging almost $19 for that? I'm sorry, I was just absolutely shocked when I did the math. I was like, oh, yeah, that is really expensive. I would not be buying that personally, in my opinion, but you guys do what you want with your money. But anyways, this person's definitely speaking facts, because what do you mean $19 for a tail? But this was another comment I came across by Shu, I think is how you say it. And they say, I didn't even get a chance to farm them, no. And Royale High responds by saying same. Broken heart emoji. Again, great response on their part. Whoever they hired is doing a great job. But what I've seen a lot of people talk about is actually very similar to this comment, is people are very upset that some people and some individuals were allowed to participate in this event, sort of like bug thing, right? And to my understanding, anybody who earned diamonds during that time got to keep the diamonds, like the glitch diamonds, to what I understand. Maybe I'm wrong, okay? I'm happy to admit if I'm wrong. But from what I understand, anybody that got the extra glitch diamonds got to keep them. And for those of you that don't know, Royale High has like a whole black market on like websites like eBay and stuff like that, where basically people will sell their diamonds through eBay for real life money, which is like against Roblox terms of service, but who cares? I'm just kidding. I care, but you know. And so what happens with these sorts of bugs is that people will bring in bot accounts and they will collect a ton of diamonds and then resell them. And it just skews the whole value system to make it a very long story short. And I do think it's incredibly unfair that, you know, this bug was in the game for a certain amount of time and some players got to really exploit this bug and get a ton of diamonds, and they took the bug away. And so now other players are like, oh, like I played by the rules, you know, I'm just trying to play this game properly. And now this bug came out and some players got to have a bunch of diamonds and I didn't get it. And I can understand how as a kid that would be really sad to see that some people got a ton of diamonds. You're like, darn it, like, I'm a kid, I was at school, I couldn't play Royale High at this specific time, like this is really annoying. And so in my opinion, if I was Royale High, I would probably keep this glitch up for maybe 24 hours or something like that and tell people, hey, this is a glitch, we're going to keep it up, so if you guys want to try it, you can try it out, and then we're going to take it away after this certain amount of time. But of course, Royale High doesn't want to do that, and I'm going to get into why in just a second here, don't worry. But there's some other comments I also want to go up over, one of which was this one, which is going to give me a segue into the next thing I want to talk about, which was, I can't believe the greediness of this game. This update gave us new items, yes, but the cost is so inflated, and literal children and teenagers, and more so adults who play this game, don't even have time to sit down and farm for hours every day. Seriously, this game isn't beginner friendly. which is a comment that I've seen a lot of people make on some of my other videos, where Royale High just honestly isn't beginner friendly anymore because of how expensive everything has become. And something I want to discuss and actually mention was the reason that Royale High didn't want to keep the bug around and they were so quick to take it down was because Royale High wants to incentivize players to buy diamonds. Okay? I feel like this is pretty self-explanatory, but some people maybe don't understand. But, when a game takes out a lot of the methods for making the in-game currency, such as getting XP or diamonds for leveling up, right? Or quests where you get a lot of diamonds, or being able to get random diamonds around the campus, which I guess they took out. I remember in Enchantix High, there was always a ton of diamonds everywhere. And when I used to play, I remember they released a different school, there was barely anything lying around, and I was like, where is all the diamonds, and I'm not trying to sit here and just be a complainer, but I understand you have to make money and you want to incentivize people to buy stuff from your game, but eliminating almost every single avenue for earning diamonds or earning diamonds efficiently in your game, I don't think it's doing what they think it's doing. They think it's going to incentivize people to spend money, but what I think and what actually happened with me was it pushed me to not play the game anymore. Because it's why am I going to spend hours? I'm going to go to school all day, then come home after school to play my favorite game, which is supposed to be a game that makes me feel not stressed, it makes me happy, and I'm going to be sitting here grinding till 10 o'clock at night just to earn a couple thousand diamonds, not even. It's very disheartening, and the whole methodology behind a game is that there's a positive loop of reinforcement where you're constantly getting serotonin, you're constantly being rewarded for spending time in the game. And when you basically just remove the serotonin, you remove the feeling of, wow, I'm achieving something, I'm earning diamonds, players don't want to play the game because it makes them feel bad. It makes you feel bad when you spent 3 hours your whole time after school doing stuff in this game to basically have nothing to show for it. You know what I mean? And so it's just it's very much, in my opinion, backfiring. You can't just expect people to spend tons and tons of money in your in-game shop by buying Robux and then in turn spending it on your game to only get items or unlock items in your game. Now, on top of this, I saw a lot of comments, which I thought this was very relevant, was somebody said, how funny that they run to fix it and male bodies do nothing and many more mistakes. This is a little bit weirdly worded, but what they're referring to here is it's funny that they go and they immediately take out this bug, but there's been issues with male bodies for literal years and nothing has happened. There has been little to no incentive or even just effort to rectify some of the issues with the scaling and just the way the bodies look. I know I've seen a lot of controversy surrounding the way that the bodies are particularly skinny and how it doesn't really represent a larger demographic of people. And Royale High, of course, the community manager, leaves a very nice comment, so props to them. They address this very well. And there was another comment actually that I saw from somebody else about this, which I thought was another great perspective by Soren, I think is how you say it, where they say, you guys jumped to fix this, but not the masc bodies. I love Royale High, but as a trans person, being forced to present in a feminine way is awful. The old masc bodies were perfect. It really doesn't need to change. Left in the dark for 2 years is insane. Which I didn't know it's been a 2-year-long thing. I remember when I was playing way back when, there's always people talking about how the body types were annoying and how there wasn't enough representation, and it was just kind of, some of them were weird looking, but I didn't know that it's been I thought it had been resolved when they added POC hairs and stuff like that, and they'd done a whole kind of game revamp, and we're trying to be guys, we're so inclusive, we love everybody, everybody's equal kind of a thing, but I guess not. And I guess they've just been leaving these issues in the game, and I think this is also very telling, right? People are pointing out a very obvious issue, which is, why are you so quick to jump on this bug and to resolve this bug that is directly impacting your revenue by basically incentivizing people to not purchase diamonds because they can actually earn them fairly in the game? Whereas this update, which has to do with representation, people feeling comfortable in their bodies, and being aware that you have a wide demographic of people that play your game and maybe people that want to present in a masculine way, instead of addressing issues with the scaling of those body types in your game for several years, you just kind of ignore it. And then, of course, it's not the community manager's fault, but they said in their response that, hey, we're working on it, blah, blah, blah. But you've had years to work on this, according to this person, right? And according to some Reddit threads I looked at, this has been an issue for a long time. It's not like it's a secret that came out yesterday, right? This has been something that's been an issue for a long time. But in my opinion, because this doesn't directly impact Royale High's revenue, they don't care. And that's just my opinion. That's just how I perceive it. If somebody genuinely cared about an issue, they would fix it like that. It would be, of course, it might take time if it's hard, but it doesn't take years to fix a scaling system, in my opinion. You know, I don't think it takes years to fix that. They've had so many massive updates within the span of the last couple years that I feel like fixing a scaling sort of thing with this body type shouldn't be that big of a task. I'm sure it's hard work and I'm sure you have to pay people for their time, and I understand that. But then why are you releasing more and more updates if you haven't fixed something that you implemented years ago that is broken, for lack of better terms, right? And so it's just unfortunate to, in my opinion, see that it's almost like their priorities align much more with making money and generating revenue than they do with keeping players happy, you know, taking into account players' feedback. And another thing that I think is important to know is people have been saying that, you know, Royale High's been taking out diamonds and they haven't been allowing players to make as much money in the game anymore. And, you know, stuff is so expensive, inflation is crazy. And in my opinion, again, I don't know for sure, I'm not an economist, but in my opinion, the reason for Royale High's inflation, which I don't remember it being that big of an issue when I was playing, I wasn't really good at Royale High, but I had like lots of items, and I don't think I ever bought any diamonds in that game because I could always like earn them through doing different quests and stuff. But the reason why all the items in Royale High become more expensive, in my opinion, is because there isn't as many people playing the game. And when there aren't a ton of people playing a game, right? You could sell a cookie for $1 and you sell it to 100 people because there's 100 people at your bakery every day. You make $100, right? But if all of a sudden now there's only 30 people coming to your bakery every day and you're still selling the cookies for $1, you're only making $30. So in your head, you're like, okay, I'm going to up the price of my cookies to being like $5 or to $10, right? So that way now your cookies are $10, and so there's only 30 people coming, which isn't a ton of people coming to your bakery, but you're charging each person $10 for a cookie. Now you're making $300 and you're serving way less people. You know what I mean? So in my opinion, the reasoning why items in Royale High have become so much more expensive is because there's way less people playing, and so they have to make up that money somehow, and so they're going to pass that cost directly onto the consumer by therefore making you guys pay more money for a basic pixelated mermaid tail. I understand they gotta make bank. I'm not trying to be insensitive to the fact they have to pay people, but I definitely do think it's in poor taste to raise prices so astronomically and charge what you know are literal children almost $19 for a mermaid tail. $19 Fortnite card. Sorry. Brain rotted. I just think it's ridiculous to charge $19 for mermaid tail and not address issues within your game. Now, I did see some suggestions from players in the same thread about, you know, how Royale High could fix this issue. And a lot of people saying that, you know, this bug wasn't causing any harm. You could, you know, leave it in. It's only a 3-day event. Just leave it in for 3 days. Who cares? Like, it's not that big of a deal, right? But of course, Royale High doesn't want to do that because then they're going to lose money because people won't be buying the diamond packets from their game. So anyways, that turned into a really long rant about the Royale High economy, which I do plan on making a whole separate video about that because I think it's very interesting. And again, I'm not a pro at math. I used a calculator, obviously, to help me figure this out because I'm not doing long division and mental math. Absolutely not. I left that behind me. I'm never doing it again. But with that in mind, let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below. Personally, although people can say life isn't fair, I generally don't think it's fair to have a bug play out in your game for several hours and only allowing certain players to reap the benefits of that bug, which is being able to collect an astronomically higher amount of diamonds than typical. I definitely think it would have been fairer to say, hey guys, there's a bug, we're going to take it off in this many hours, play it, or just let the bug go on till the event's over. It's a 3-day event. Like, how much money can you truly lose? I doubt there's players spending a gazillion dollars on diamonds every day. And, you know, just having players in your game in Roblox can generate you money, especially if they have premium. So if you incentivize people to be in your game by having this limited time double diamond, triple diamond event, right, you will still earn money that way. It's not like you're going to be completely out of money. But regardless, that's just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section. How do you think they could have addressed this? Again, this is nothing against the community manager. I don't know how they want to identify, but they did a phenomenal job just, you know, regulating the comments and de-escalating. Absolutely 10 out of 10 on their part. This is nothing against them. They did a great job. But with that in mind, let me know what you guys think. What should Royale High have done differently? How do you think they can resolve this? And do you guys buy diamonds? Do you plan on buying diamonds? I'm genuinely curious if people even buy diamonds because I've never purchased them ever, but maybe that's like a normal thing and I just don't know about it. Who knows? Anyways, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye!